There's a painful truth about this world that most people don't want to admit. The idea that goodness and intelligence don't always go hand in hand. That good people, those who are kind, selfless, and moral, are often seen as fools. Idiots. Fyodor Dostoevsky, one of the greatest literary minds in history, wrestled with this idea throughout his works. He gave us characters that were pure-hearted but powerless, compassionate but easily deceived. And he forced us to ask an unsettling question. Is goodness a form of idiocy? So we'll break down this idea, why Dostoevsky saw good people as idiots, why society often treats them as such, and whether true goodness is even possible in a world built on power and deception. By the end of this video, you might question the way you see morality and intelligence, and perhaps even rethink what it means to be a good person in today's world. The role of goodness in Dostoevsky's works. Let's start with one of Dostoevsky's most famous characters, Prince Mishkin, from his novel, The Idiot. Mishkin is a rare kind of person, completely innocent, honest, and kind-hearted. He doesn't manipulate, he doesn't lie, and he never tries to gain power over others. But what happens to him? He is laughed at. He is taken advantage of. And ultimately, he is destroyed. Dostoevsky paints a painful picture. A man who is purely good, yet completely incapable of surviving in a world full of deceit, greed, and cruelty. His goodness, instead of being admired, makes him look foolish, an idiot in the eyes of society. And Mishkin isn't the only example. Take Alyosha from the Brothers Karamazov, a character full of love and faith. Even he struggles to assert himself in a world that sees his kindness as weakness. Think about someone in your own life who is genuinely kind and honest, maybe a friend, a teacher, or a family member. Have you ever noticed that people sometimes take advantage of their kindness? Maybe they are too forgiving, too trusting. It's the same problem Dostoevsky explores. Goodness in its purest form is not rewarded in a world built on competition and power. So the question is, why does this happen? To understand this, we have to look at how the world actually works. Society doesn't reward pure kindness. It rewards intelligence, ambition, and, more often than we'd like to admit, manipulation. Think about it. In workplaces, who gets ahead? The kind, selfless employee who always helps others? Or the one who knows how to play the game, how to take credit, how to win favor, how to move up? In relationships, who often gets hurt? The one who gives endlessly without expecting anything in return? Or the one who sets boundaries and understands power dynamics? Dostoevsky forces us to confront this reality. Goodness, when not paired with wisdom, can become self-destruction. It's not that good people are inherently foolish, but that they refuse to engage in the kind of cunning and self-interest that the world often demands. But here's where things get interesting. Dostoevsky doesn't just portray good people as victims. He also explores whether their supposed idiocy is actually a form of higher wisdom. In Christianity, meekness is often seen as a virtue. The meek shall inherit the earth, the Bible says. Dostoevsky was deeply religious, and in the Brothers Karamazov, he presents the idea that true goodness might not lead to success in this world, but it holds spiritual power beyond what we can see. On the other hand, if we look at this idea from a Nietzschean perspective, goodness without strength is just weakness. Friedrich Nietzsche, who came after Dostoevsky, argued that morality often serves to protect the weak from the strong. In a purely pragmatic world, morality is just another tool, one that can either empower or be used against you. So, is a person who refuses to manipulate others truly an idiot? Or are they just operating on a different level of existence, one that values something beyond power and survival? Realism versus idealism in Dostoevsky's philosophy. Dostoevsky doesn't give us a clear answer. Instead, he presents a painful dilemma. If you want to survive in the real world, you need intelligence, awareness, and sometimes a little bit of ruthlessness. If you want to be purely good, you might have to accept that the world will see you as naive, or even foolish. But does that mean we should give up on goodness? Should we abandon morality just because it doesn't guarantee success? Think about history's greatest figures. Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., even Jesus. They all chose moral integrity over worldly power. And they all suffered for it. But their suffering wasn't meaningless. Their so-called idiocy, their refusal to conform to the harshness of the world, became a force that changed history. So maybe the real question isn't whether good people are idiots, but whether we are willing to redefine what intelligence truly means. At the end of the day, Dostoevsky doesn't tell us what to believe. He simply holds up a mirror and asks us to decide for ourselves. Is it better to be wise and ruthless, or good and foolish? Is kindness a weakness, or is it the only true form of strength? And most importantly, how will you choose to live? Think about it, because the answer might just define who you really are.